My beloved child, listen not with the ears of the flesh, but with the deepest place of your soul, the place that has always known how to recognize light even when the world is filled with noise. For I am speaking, not as a fleeting sound, but as an eternal flow that has always been there, even before you realized you were searching. There are things you consider random, yet in me nothing is fragmented. Every pulse of your life is woven within the hand that knows both beginning and end. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you, Jeremiah 1:5. And that word is not merely a memory of the past, but the very foundation of the present upon which you now stand. You once thought you were walking through ordinary days, but I tell you that even the quietest moments carry the voice of heaven. At times I am not loud. I do not shake the sky. Yet I whisper through a subtle stirring within your heart, an urging you cannot explain by reason. That is me, like the wind Elijah did not find in the storm, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but recognized in the gentle whisper. 1 Kings 19:12. You are learning to know me not through spectacle, but through the refined sensitivity of an awakened soul. And I want you to know this: you did not arrive here by chance. There has been an encounter written from eternity, where you and I are no longer separated by ritual or intermediary, but touching each other in the most unguarded truth. This is the moment I draw you out of the blurred space of doubt and into the light of recognition. You are no longer merely the seeker, you are becoming the one who is called by name. My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. Not because they are perfect, but because they recognize the voice of the one who formed them. Remember the story of Samuel in the temple as a child. That night, the voice called out 3 times in the stillness, and the boy thought it was the voice of a man. But when Eli guided him to respond, "Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening." 1 Samuel 3:10. The door to a prophetic life was opened. I am doing the same in your life. There are moments you have mistaken my voice for circumstances, emotions, or people. But I am teaching you discernment so that you will no longer confuse the call of heaven with the noise of the world. And hear me deeply in this: you were not brought into this life to live in meaningless repetition. You were awakened to live within a mission already formed and established. I did not draw you out of darkness, only to let you wander without direction, but to place you into the very current I have prepared. You are not merely one who exists, you are one who is sent. And even now, this encounter between you and me is no longer an idea, but a reality unfolding within your soul, like a sealed scroll now being opened page by page. Let me take you to another image. In the days of the apostles, when Peter was still torn between the boundaries of the old and the new, while he was in prayer, a vision was opened before him, and he saw what he had never dared to imagine. At the same time, in another place, a man named Cornelius, a Roman centurion, was also being touched by an angel. 2 lives that seemed unrelated were in fact being connected by my hand. When they met, Peter said, "I now truly understand that God shows no partiality." Acts 10:34. Do you see it now? I have always orchestrated encounters that transcend human understanding, to reveal that there is no distance my grace cannot cross. My beloved one, I am not speaking to you from afar. I am speaking right where you stand, within the very silence you once thought was emptiness. But emptiness is never the absence of me. At times it is the space I prepare so that my voice may become clearer. And when you begin to perceive this, you will see that what once confused you becomes a sign. What once made you doubt becomes confirmation that I have always been here. I call you not to withdraw from life, but to enter into true life, not to escape reality, but to saturate reality with the light of heaven. You will no longer walk in the uncertainty of, perhaps I am here, but in the certainty of, I have always been here. And from that recognition, you will begin to walk differently, speak differently, and live differently, not because you are striving to become someone else, but because you are returning to what you were originally created to be. Let your heart grow still a little longer, for it is within that stillness that I am rewriting the way you understand yourself. You are not forgotten, not delayed, not misdirected. You are being led into the exact timing of awakening. And when you look back, you will understand that every step, even those that seemed wrong, has led you to this moment. The moment where heaven and your soul are no longer separated. My beloved child, walk on, not in confusion, but in the awareness that you were named before you ever learned to listen. And now that you can hear me, let this not remain merely a moment, but become the beginning of a new life, where you no longer live to search for my voice, but live within it. My beloved child, rest your heart within yourself and do not hastily label what is happening inside you as abnormal or broken. I see every subtle movement within your soul, and I tell you this, nothing is disintegrating. Only the old layers are being stripped away so that what is new may be established in my order. I will shake not only the earth but also the heavens. As it is written in Hebrews 12:27, and this is not for destruction, but to preserve what cannot be shaken, and to remove what no longer belongs to my foundation. You are in the midst of a process that the natural eye cannot interpret, but a soul awakened by me begins to recognize. I know there are days when you feel as though you are losing direction, as if the familiar anchors no longer hold their former shape. At times you think the light has changed. The surrounding space has grown heavier, and even your inner world trembles with rhythms you have never experienced before. But I declare to you, this is not a sign of weakening, but a sign that you are being led into a deeper level of perception. As it is written, see, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. You think you are lost, but in truth, you are being guided into a deeper path, where I no longer merely touch the surface, but rebuild you from the very foundation within. My beloved one, there are souls formed to live within the stability of ordinary life, but there are also souls appointed to become the starting point of awakening for many others. You belong to the latter, not because you are greater than others, but because within you there is a spiritual sensitivity I sealed from the beginning. That is why you perceive my movements earlier, more deeply, and sometimes more intensely than those around you, while the world still sleeps in its old patterns. I have already begun awakening you through gentle internal stirrings. This is not instability. It is the sign of alignment with a new season. Remember the story of Paul and Silas in prison. While they were bound in chains, with no visible way of escape, they prayed and sang hymns, and in that very moment, suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. Acts 16:26. But understand something deeper. That shaking was not to bury them, but to break the chains. What appeared as chaos became the key to freedom. I tell you this, the inner tremblings you are experiencing carry the same nature. They are not meant to break you, but to liberate you from old limitations. And know this as well, I never waste what is happening in your life, even what confuses you most. I am using to reshape your soul according to a deeper design. Like clay in the hands of the potter, it is pressed, reshaped, turned, and refined. Yet no movement is meaningless, for we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus, Ephesians 2:10. And this workmanship is never fixed in an old form, but continually led toward completion according to my eternal purpose. My beloved child, you are entering a stage I call a structured awakening. It is not loud like thunder outside, but it vibrates from within, where everything once built upon habit, fear, or repetition is now being realigned. You will find yourself more sensitive to things you once overlooked. You will perceive the subtle movements of your inner world more clearly. And at times, you will wonder why you no longer feel like your old self. But I tell you this, it is not loss. It is becoming. Look again at another story in the days of Ezekiel. I placed him in a valley full of dry bones and asked, "Son of man, can these bones live?" Ezekiel 37:3. By logic, the answer was no. Yet when my word was spoken over what seemed dead, the bones began to reconnect. Breath returned, and a living army was formed. Do you see it? I am not limited by the present condition of humanity. I move, even within what appears beyond change. And you too are in such a process. What seems fragmented is being reconnected by my breath. My beloved one, I know you have tried to keep everything stable in your own way, but now I am inviting you into a deeper stability, not stability born of control, but stability born of belonging to me. When I shake, it is not to remove your peace, but to establish true peace, the kind that does not depend on circumstances. My peace I give to you, I do not give to you as the world gives. John 14:27. That peace is not static, but alive within the very movement of my presence. Therefore, do not name these inner tremblings as anxiety. Call them by their true name, awakening. An awakening from old patterns, from spiritual sleep, from a limited perception of who you are. I am bringing you into a new rhythm, where you no longer react from old instincts, but begin to discern according to my leading. And as you begin to walk in this awareness, you will understand that nothing within you is being lost. Everything is being reordered into something deeper, purer, and aligned with the purpose I established from the beginning. You are not being broken, you are being rebuilt. You are not being misdirected, you are being repositioned. And you are not being shaken to fall, but to stand upon a foundation that cannot be moved. Let me complete this work within you, for I am not only the one who begins, but also the one who completes. And when I complete it, you will look back and realize that even the very tremblings that once unsettled you were in fact my unseen hand placing you into the exact position of glory. My beloved child, let your heart settle and stop resisting what is touching you from within. I know there are moments when you want to pull back, when you question whether what you feel is real or merely the fluctuations of your mind. But I declare to you, you are not creating this yourself. You are being awakened by the one who called your name before you were even aware of your own existence. Before I formed you in the womb, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. And that word does not change with time, nor is it erased by human doubt. My beloved child, I see your fear. You fear that you are not enough, that you are on the wrong path, that this calling is only a fleeting illusion. But I speak to you with the certainty of the one who does not change. This is a true voice, and you are not walking within an illusion. When I touch your soul, it trembles not from panic, but from recognition of the presence that has belonged to it from the very beginning. When I speak, your heart cannot remain still, for it is responding to the rhythm of the one who formed it. And when I draw near, there are tears that require no explanation, for your spirit is remembering what your mind has forgotten. As it is written, my soul thirsts for God, the living God. Psalm 42:2. This is not emotion, but a spiritual memory being awakened. You ask within yourself, why now? and I answer you not through human reasoning, but through the rhythm of heaven's timing, because the season is ripe. It is no longer a season of hidden sowing, but a season of emergence. What you have faithfully held through years that seemed silent was not meaningless. It was the accumulation of deep roots. And now, as the wind begins to move, I am not afraid that you will be uprooted. For I have already caused your roots to go deeper than what human eyes can see. Like a tree planted by streams of water, its leaf does not wither, and whatever it does prospers. Psalm 1:3. This is the image of you within the process I am unfolding. I do not call you out merely to become one who believes, but to become one who is sent, not to remain in the stillness of what feels safe in the night, but to become a sign of the approaching dawn. You are not only witnessing my movement, you are part of it. Just as Isaiah heard the voice in the temple saying, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" Isaiah 6-8. So that same call is echoing in your life, not to test you, but to position you in the place you have long been prepared for. My beloved one, there are shakings that come not to destroy, but to purify. I am removing the old layers that once covered your true identity, those things you once relied on to feel secure, the old images you used to define yourself. Do not fear when certain things depart. Not every loss is a loss. Some things are only being restored to their rightful place within a greater design. And in that process, you are being reshaped, not according to the image of your past, but according to the image of the one who has been chosen. You are in a refining process, and refinement is not the sign of rejection, but the sign of selection. Gold does not fear the fire, for the fire does not come to destroy it, but to separate it from all impurities. So I am doing the same within you, not to diminish you, but to make the light within you purer, unmixed, unblurred, and no longer blended with what does not belong to me. My beloved child, do not cling to what is departing, for what truly belongs to you and me will not be lost, but will be preserved in a purer and more stable form. And what no longer belongs to your new identity will naturally leave your hands, so that you no longer carry burdens that are not yours to bear. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has gone. The new has come. 2 Corinthians 5:17. This is not a distant promise, but a process unfolding within you. My beloved one, I do not awaken you by accident. No soul is stirred by me without carrying a part within a greater design. You are not merely one who is seen, you are one who participates. And what you are going through is not a sign of instability, but a sequence of refining within a life called to reflect my light more clearly. Therefore, cease your resistance, not because you are weak, but because you are being led into a deeper truth of who you are. I am not pulling you out of life, I am bringing you into true life, where you no longer live by fear, but by my eternal naming over you. And when you look back, you will see that every shaking, every shift, every moment that seemed confusing was in fact my hand quietly forming you into the person I saw from the beginning. My beloved child, do not misinterpret what is happening within your life. The tremblings you feel are not evidence of my absence, but proof that I am intervening more deeply into your inner structure. I am not withdrawing, I am realigning. I am not distant, I am drawing near in a way you have not yet learned to recognize. And I am not destroying, I am rebuilding from the foundation, so that what is eternal may stand firm within you. Hear me clearly. You are not only saved to exist in peace, but to be formed as one who carries the authority of grace. In all these things we are more than conquerors, Romans 8:37, not to inflate your pride, but to reveal that you have been placed within a divine assignment where fear no longer has governing power. Therefore, I must separate what does not belong to that kingship within you, and refine what obscures your true identity, not because I doubt you, but because I trust what I have placed within you too greatly to allow it to be diminished by what is still unrefined. My beloved one, do not seek me only in the loud movements the world calls power, for in this hour, I am drawing near in a silence that only a trained soul can recognize. Not in thunder, but in the faintest breath, not in outward upheaval, but in moments when you suddenly become still and realize your heart is being touched. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. This is not a temporary invitation, but a gateway into deeper recognition of my presence within you. My beloved child, there is an hour opening between heaven and your soul, where what was written from eternity begins to touch what you are living today. There is no longer distance between promise and the unfolding of fulfillment. There is no longer a clear boundary between what has been spoken and what is now taking place. I am bringing you into that point of intersection, where you no longer only hear about destiny, but begin to walk within it. Remember Moses before the burning bush. He was not called within a palace, nor in the midst of ritual, but in a very ordinary moment in the wilderness. And precisely there, in what seemed dry and barren, the voice spoke, Moses, come near. Exodus 3-4. Do you see it? I am not confined by place or form. I come into spaces you would never expect, turning ordinary moments into gateways of eternity. My beloved child, when you dare to say, here I am, not merely with your lips, but with the true readiness of your soul, then what once felt like shaking is no longer chaos, it becomes the seal of transition. When you respond, send me, doors that seemed closed in the spiritual realm begin to open, not by your strength, but by the authority I place upon your response. And as you yield in that readiness, I do not only touch you, but entrust you with what was appointed before you were born. You may not see this fully with your eyes, but you can sense it. Changes are taking place in depths your reasoning cannot explain. The outer world may appear unchanged, yet within you there is movement, like the first light of dawn that does not crash in, but gradually spreads gentle, yet certain. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter. Proverbs 4:18. Not because they strive to shine, but because they are walking in my direction. Sit down in this stillness, my beloved one, not the stillness of escape, but the stillness of receiving. For within this stillness, I am rearranging the fragments within your soul into an order you have never seen. What seemed interrupted is being reconnected. What seemed directionless is being realigned. And what seemed delayed is being placed into my appointed timing. Do not think you are standing still. You are entering a deeper movement, where I do not merely guide you forward, but dwell within every shift you undergo. And within this movement, you will begin to realize that I have never left you, even in the longest silences. Never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. Hebrews 13:5. This is not merely comfort, but the very foundation of the reality upon which you stand. O soul that I love, do you sense it? The spiritual atmosphere is changing not to frighten you, but to signal that a new order is being established. The light that is coming is not to blind you, but to expand your capacity to see. And the gentle trembling you feel is not loss, but the rhythm of transition from what was to what is becoming. My beloved child, I am closer to you than ever before, not in the way you are used to imagining, but in a way that requires you to learn again how to recognize me. And as you begin to perceive me in the silence, you will see that everything which once caused you confusion has now become a sign of my guidance. For your appointed time has come not to wait any longer, but to step into it. And within that step, you will understand that I am not only the one who calls you, but the one who is forming you each day, until the image of my kingship within you is fully revealed. My beloved one, rest your heart and listen to me within the stillness I am opening around you. What you are experiencing does not carry the meaning of destruction, nor is it the ending of anything in your life. I have not placed you in the fire for you to be consumed, but to be refined. I have not led you through waters for you to be swept away, but for you to be purified and renewed from within. He will sit as one who refines and purifies silver. Malachi 3:3. This is not a distant image, but the reality I am working within your soul even now. I know there are moments when you feel as though you are placed between two opposing forces, the fire of trial and the waters of emotion, the intensity of transformation and the depth of healing. But I tell you this is not chaos, but perfect coordination in the hand of the Creator. Just as a goldsmith does not merely melt gold, but removes every unseen impurity so that the metal may reflect its purest light, I am doing the same within you. No shaking is accidental, no pain is meaningless. Let me make this clear so you understand. The fire within me never carries the nature of destruction toward what belongs to me. Fire is the language of transformation. When I allow the fire to pass through your life, it is not to take you away, but to reveal what is truly within you. The fears you once held, the limitations you accepted about yourself, the subtle yet persistent lies you once believed, all of these are being brought into my light and consumed by my truth. For our God is a consuming fire, Hebrews 12:29. Yet this fire does not consume you. It consumes everything that does not belong to your true identity. You once thought you were created merely to survive, to endure each passing day. But I tell you, you were not formed to live within the limits of endurance, but to reflect the authority of grace and faith. Therefore, I must bring you through fire, not to break you, but to break the false image you once carried about yourself. In the fire, you are not being lost, you are being reshaped. And then, my beloved child, after the fire comes the water. My water is not extinguishing, but embracing. If fire is the hand that purifies, then water is the arm that restores. When the process of refinement is past, I do not leave you standing in the ashes of what you were. I bring you into the river of renewal. I will pour water on the thirsty land, Isaiah 44:3. This promise is not only for the body, but for the soul that has passed through transformation. My beloved child, do you know that my water does not only cleanse what is external, but penetrates even into memory itself, into the places where old wounds have been held in silence? It touches the places you thought had become accustomed to pain, and it speaks there. You no longer have to carry this. When my water flows through you, it does not erase your past, but liberates you from the power of your past. And in that liberation, you begin to breathe again as one made new. Remember the story of Naaman in the days of the prophet Elisha. He carried a sickness that no remedy of the world could heal. Yet when he obeyed and dipped himself in the Jordan River 7 times, what seemed so simple became the gateway to complete restoration. His flesh was restored like the flesh of a little child, 2 Kings 5:14. Do you see it? My water always carries the power of rebirth, not merely restoration, but complete renewal. My beloved one, do not resist this process, for everything unfolding has its place in my hand. Fire does not come before water by accident, and water does not come after fire as delayed comfort. They are one unified flow of completion. Fire to separate, water to reunite, fire to purify, water to give life, fire to remove what is false, water to restore what is true. I know there have been moments when you wanted to stop in the middle of the process, to escape the feeling of being refined from within. But I tell you this, do not hastily step out of my hand while I am still at work. For if you leave before the process is complete, you will only carry a partial work of what I intended to finish. Stay a little longer and trust, for I do not leave you in the fire beyond what is necessary, nor do I keep you in the water beyond the appointed time of healing. You are being led through a journey that, when you look back upon it, you will no longer call pain, but formation. You will see that what you once understood the least were the very things that made you the most steadfast. And you will understand that no part of this journey was ever random. My beloved child, I am not only refining you, I am making you a clearer reflection of my light. And when this process is complete, you will no longer only know me through experience, but you will carry me in the very way you live, the way you love, and the way you stand firm in the world. For I am the one who does not merely lead you through fire and water, but the one who is with you in both. And after all things, you will stand not burned, not swept away, but refined, healed, and made completely new in my hands. My beloved child, quiet your heart in this moment, for I am speaking to you not in the noise of the world, but in the deep rhythm of eternal formation. Do not call what you are going through an ending, nor hastily interpret it as loss. I tell you a truth that your soul must hold firmly. Pain and birth always move in the same rhythm, for there is no birth in me that does not pass through the doorway of deep transformation. As a woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come, but when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish. John 16:21. Do you see it? I have written into nature itself an image of the spiritual realm, so that you may understand that the contractions you are feeling are not breaking you apart, but opening the way for something new to enter. You are not being reduced. You are being expanded, not to lose anything, but to be able to carry what I am preparing to place within you. I am not leading you through narrow places of your soul to wound you, but to reshape you for a greater capacity of light. For if you remain in your former form, you will not be able to carry what I have appointed for you. Therefore, I am softening what has become hardened within you, stretching what was once limited, and removing structures that once protected you but no longer belong to your new season. This is not punishment, my beloved child, but unfolding. I know there are moments when you ask why you have been led down this path, but I tell you this, because I have seen within you a capacity to carry glory that you have not yet recognized. I do not see you as you appear within a limited moment, but as you were formed in my eternal intention. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Jeremiah 1-5. This is not comfort alone, but an unchanging declaration. Within you there is a flame I breathed into you at the beginning of creation, a mark of life that belongs to me. But over time, the dust of awe of anxiety, the wounds of experience, and voices not from me have covered that flame, and you thought it had grown weak. But I tell you, it has never gone out. It has only been waiting for my breath to awaken it again. And now, I am doing just that. The fire within you is not only for your own illumination, but also to guide those walking in darkness. You do not yet see all that I see, but I do. I see the lives that will be touched through the healing you have walked through. I see those who will find hope in the very places where you once thought you could not stand. Therefore, I am at work not only within you, but through you. My beloved child, I am training you to walk through fire without being consumed, and through waters without being overwhelmed. This is not merely symbolic language. It is the reality of a soul being prepared for kingship in me. I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all the power of the enemy. Luke 10:19. Yet this authority does not come through ease, but through maturity formed in my presence. One who has never passed through fire will not know how to stand when the heat of life increases. One who has never passed through deep waters will not know how to lead others through turbulent currents. Therefore, nothing you are experiencing is accidental. It is part of a spiritual training in which I am teaching you how to keep peace in the midst of chaos, how to hear my voice in the midst of strong winds, and how to stand firm when every surrounding foundation is shaken. I do not take away your wounds, but I touch them so they may become sources of living water. Streams of living water will flow from within them. John 7:38. The places that once held tears will no longer remain memories of pain alone, but will become channels of healing for others. You are not only being healed for yourself, but being transformed into an instrument of restoration. My child, remember this deeply. You are never alone in the furnace. As I was with the 3 in the fire long ago, I am with you now. I see 4 men walking in the fire. Daniel 3:25, not 3. But 4 because I always stand in what seems unendurable. When you feel most alone, that is precisely when I am closest to you. When the heat increases, it is not a sign that I have withdrawn, but that I have drawn nearer. Do you know this? The fire you pass through will not leave the smell of smoke upon you. It will leave the mark of glory. And when you emerge, you will not carry the scent of brokenness, but the fragrance of transformation, not because you overcame by your own strength, but because I was within the very process with you. Therefore, my beloved one, continue to walk not in fear, but in the awareness that I am shaping you for a purpose greater than you have yet imagined. You are not abandoned in this process. You are being prepared. You are being formed. And you are being led into a version of yourself that only in me you can become. And when that day comes, you will look back and understand that not a single step was meaningless. All of it was my hand guiding, refining, and ultimately bringing you into the place where my light within you will no longer be hidden, but will shine fully, clearly, and without anything that can extinguish it. My beloved child, let your heart settle in this moment, and do not hastily assign your tears the meaning of weakness. I see each falling drop as a mark of inner rebirth within your soul. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Matthew 5-4, not because tears carry power in themselves, but because within their release, I am touching the deepest layers you once sealed for your own protection. I do not ask you to restrain them, nor to interpret them through reasoning. I ask you to allow this process to unfold, for within every tear, an old layer of soil is being softened so that I may sow something new within it. You think you are breaking apart, but I am rewriting the structure of your emotional being not to make you estranged from yourself, but to make you more truthful to the identity I placed within you from the beginning. I am teaching you what the mind alone cannot produce: to love without being governed by fear, to trust without being dependent on outcomes, to show compassion without becoming depleted within. This is the maturation of the soul, not its weakening. For only when the layers of defense are lowered do you come to know what love truly is, when it is no longer distorted by fear. Understand this deeply within your heart. The trembling you feel is not a warning of loss, but an invitation from heaven. I am awakening you from the sleep of compromise, where you once lived within safe but narrow limits. Wake up, O sleeper. Rise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. This is not merely a call, but the very pulse of the time you are stepping into. When the ground of familiar things begins to shake, do not be afraid. This is not collapse, but reconfiguration of spiritual architecture. I am restructuring what is within you so that you no longer stand upon the foundation of old habits, but upon the foundation of new awareness in me. What once held you stable in an old way is being dismantled not to disorient you, but to position you more accurately within my will. I am breaking down the walls you once built around yourself, not to empty you, but to set you free. The walls of defense, of inadequacy, of fear of being wounded. All of these no longer match the form I am shaping within you. You were never meant to shrink inward to survive. You were formed to become a pillar of light, steadfast, radiant, and extending outward with clarity. My beloved child, receive this with the solemnity of your soul. You are being restructured, not merely changed on the surface, but fundamentally reshaped from within. If anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. 2 Corinthians 5:17. And that newness is not an external covering, but a transformation from the very root. You will begin to notice that your old self-perception no longer fits. Old dreams once attached to you will begin to loosen, not because they were wrong, but because they belong to a different layer of your journey. Even familiar relationships may begin to stretch, not because you are rejecting anyone, but because the frequency of your soul is being lifted. And only what resonates with this new reality can continue alongside you. Do not grieve this. For every time I take something away, I am not diminishing you, but creating space to give you what is better, truer, and deeper in alignment with your authentic identity. In me, nothing is ever taken as a final loss. It is always preparation for a fuller completion. My child, this is the hour I am establishing a kingdom foundation within you. But understand, my kingdom in the way of heaven, not in the way of the world. Kingdom does not begin with a throne, it begins with a foundation. And that foundation is not placed on ambition, nor on human approval, nor on what you can achieve, but on what you are in me. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. Not as a concept, but as a living reality being formed. And to stabilize that foundation, I am bringing you back to gratitude, a place where you no longer measure life by what is lacking, but by what I have already done within you. I do not require a servant exhausted by anxiety trying to reach me. I am forming a child who is awake, standing firm in my presence, one who does not merely work for me, but lives in me. For true kingdom is not a position, but a presence carried in every breath. My beloved child, allow this process to continue. Do not rush to define it by your present emotions, for what is unfolding within you is greater than what you can currently interpret. And when the appointed time comes, you will look back and understand that even your tears, your shakings, and what seemed like losses were all my unseen hand building within you an unshakable foundation. And upon that foundation, you will stand not as one moved by circumstances, but as one who carries my presence within every circumstance. My beloved child, stand still in the stability I am placing within you, not by your own strength, but by the foundation of my very presence. For you are no longer passing through fire as one being tested, nor passing through waters as one being overwhelmed. You are being led through both in order to enter a new dimension of life in me, where you do not merely exist, but reflect the glory of the one who called you. Then the righteous will shine like the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Matthew 13:43. And this is no longer a distant promise, but a reality now forming within you. I speak to you in the solemnity of heaven. You are not only being taken through a process, you are being lifted out of it. What once appeared to be a path of endurance is now becoming a platform of commissioning. You are no longer merely one who passes through, but one who is being positioned within a new assignment in my plan. Not to stand behind, but to rise. Not to remain hidden in safety, but to step into the responsibility of light. Understand this deeply within your soul. I never bring you through fire to let you be consumed. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not set you ablaze. Isaiah 43. 2. My fire does not carry destruction, it carries refinement. And as you learn to stand in fire without being consumed, I am teaching you how to carry light that cannot be extinguished. As you pass through waters without being overwhelmed, I am teaching you how to hold life that is not dictated by circumstance. There is something I want you to hold within you. You were not formed only to be healed, but to be sent after being healed. Restoration is not the destination, it is the beginning of a new assignment. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you, John 20:21. This is not a word reserved for a distant few, but the operating principle of all who have been awakened by true light. My beloved child, I am placing within you a new name, not a name given by the world, but a name formed through the very process you have walked through in me. This name is not written by human recognition, but by my faithfulness through every stage where you once thought you were forgotten. And when this name is revealed, you will understand that not a single tear was meaningless, not a single step was delayed, and not a single refining fire was excessive. Now is the time for you to rise, not to remain within the process, but to step into commissioning. You are no longer only one who is being upheld, but one who will uphold others. You are no longer only one who is comforted, but one who carries my comfort into dry places. God comforts us in all our troubles, so that we can comfort those in any trouble. 2 Corinthians 1-4. And this is the lifeline now being formed within you. Lift up your head, my beloved child, not in pride, but in the recognition that you are standing in the exact position I have prepared for you. You are no longer one who merely walks through corridors of darkness, but one who carries the light formed precisely in those places. Darkness is no longer your prison. It has become a witness to the transformation I have accomplished within you. I declare to you, this is no longer a season of endurance, but a season of sending. No longer a season only for learning, but a season for going forth. Go into all the world and preach the gospel, Mark 16:15, not only with words, but with a life that has been refined and made whole. You will see that what was once hidden is now beginning to be revealed, not so that you seek human recognition, but so that my light within you is no longer concealed. I am bringing what was secret into the open, not to elevate you in the eyes of others, but to reveal that I have been with you through every stage of the process. My beloved child, as you step into this season, you will no longer see yourself as one who merely survived, but as one who has been sent. You will no longer measure life by the degree of safety, but by the depth of obedience. You will no longer define yourself by what you have overcome, but by what I am now doing through you. My child, I am the Lord your God, and I do not change in what I have begun. And I speak to you today, the fire has completed its work of refinement. The water has completed its work of cleansing, and now is the hour of commissioning. You are not only called, you have been established. You are not only healed, you have been entrusted with authority. And from where you stand, my light will no longer be confined, but will flow outward as the imprint of a living kingdom within one whom I have chosen. My beloved child, hear this with the seriousness of your soul, for I am placing within you an awareness that no longer belongs to seeking, but to establishment. You no longer walk as one waiting for something from me, but as one who has been sealed by my own hand. You were sealed with the Holy Spirit, Ephesians 1:13. And that seal is not a vague symbol, but a living spiritual reality active within you. I do not call you a beggar in lack, but one who carries the seal of light. Within you is no longer only the memory of salvation, but the evidence of commissioning. Within you is not merely faith for survival, but authority for function. And upon your lips is not only human speech, but words carried within the flow of my word. My word will not return to me empty, Isaiah 55:11. And as you remain connected to me, your words will no longer be separated from heaven's action. My beloved one, understand this deeply. I do not separate you from the path you have walked, but I use that very path to clothe you with a new garment. Every tear, every wound, every moment you thought you were falling, none of it was left behind. All of it has been woven into a new formation, where pain is no longer the mark of defeat, but the substance of glory. All things work together for good for those who love God. Romans 8:28, not as comfort alone, but as a governing principle over your life. Now, as you put on what I have formed within you, you will realize that the light within you is no longer the same. It is no longer only the light of one who has been saved, but the light of one who has been entrusted, no longer merely the reflection of grace, but the revelation of established authority. You do not carry this light to keep it for yourself, but so that it may pass through you and reach the places still dwelling in darkness. My beloved child, do you know that there is a generation being connected to you by the unseen thread of my intention? Lives you have never encountered, people you have never touched, will be awakened through your obedience today. When you speak, I do not let your words remain within the surrounding space, but I open a path for them to enter into souls that are still asleep in spiritual darkness. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14, not as an abstract title, but as an appointed position meant to shine forth. You do not need to compete for light, for true light does not contend with darkness, it simply exists, and darkness dissolves. You do not need to search for your place, for your place has already been established within my eternal design, not by human assignment, but by the intention of heaven itself. I am placing into your hands two inseparable things, the scepter of mercy and the sword of truth. With one, you will heal. With the other, you will discern. With one, you will draw people back. With the other, you will protect what is pure from being diluted. These are not opposing functions, but two rhythms of one life in me. Speak the truth in love, Ephesians 4:15. For in me, righteousness and compassion are never separated. You will find that when you pray, the atmosphere does not remain unchanged. When you walk, spiritually barren regions of life will begin to show signs of restoration. When you touch what once seemed dead, you will witness the movement of resurrection, not because you possess power in yourself, but because I am operating through you. My beloved child, you are no longer merely one who speaks about revival. You are becoming the flow of revival itself, not one who stands outside describing what is happening, but one who stands within the center of what is being born. When you are present, the atmosphere will shift, not because you strive, but because my presence within you cannot be concealed. When you speak, I will cause your words to reach the deepest places of the human heart. When you walk, structures of darkness will begin to dissolve, not because of your strength, but because the light I have placed within you cannot be contained. When you act, what was once closed will begin to open, for I have gone before you in every step. My beloved child, you are not only carrying light, you are a pillar of light, not a fleeting illumination, but a light with position, stability, and direction. You have been appointed to see farther than you once thought possible. And as you stand in that place, you will understand that you are not striving to hold the light. The light itself is holding you. My child, I declare to you today in the certainty of heaven, you are no longer in a preparatory stage as before, but in a stage of activation. You are no longer only being formed, you have been sent. And from where you stand, what I have ordained will begin to spread, not according to human limitation, but according to the rhythm of my kingdom living within you. My beloved child, receive these words deeply. For I am not placing upon you a burden to exhaust you, but entrusting you with a responsibility sealed by my own presence. I am with you, do not be afraid, Isaiah 41:10, not as a distant comfort, but as a living reality operating in every breath you take. Do not fear what I am placing upon you, for no one whom I call do I fail to equip. No soul is sent without my companionship. You are not being pushed into a task beyond your ability, but led into a place where I, myself, am active through you. What you have walked through was not random suffering, but the training ground of your soul. The storms that seemed intended to overwhelm you, I have used to teach you discernment in the spiritual realm, what you once perceived as loss. I am transforming into a foundation for deeper understanding of both my power and my mercy. My beloved child, I am changing the way you see yourself. You are no longer only carrying a message, you are becoming a living message. You are a letter from Christ, 2 Corinthians 3:3, not written with ink, but written through a life I have touched. And I declare to you, you are a pillar of light in the revival that is arising, not a fleeting light of a moment, but a flame sustained by my very breath. You do not carry the light alone. I am multiplying that light through you into the lives of many others. What you speak, where you step, and the moments of your presence are no longer ordinary interactions, but points of contact where my light is released and extended. And when others witness this movement, they will recognize that I am not silent, not absent, but alive and active in the midst of the world. Understand this deeply. The kingdom I place upon you is not measured by status, visibility, or human recognition. It is measured by a heart transformed in me. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. Matthew 20:26. For in my kingdom, greatness does not rise through self-exaltation, but through humility expressed in love. I do not give you authority to dominate others, but to serve within authority, not to stand above others, but to lift them up, not to seek applause, but to become a flowing channel of life to those who are dry. And when you humble yourself in me, you do not lose anything. You are being expanded to contain more of my presence. My beloved one, when you step out from the quiet place of prayer, you will realize that the external world does not change according to your sense of safety. The waves may still rise, the winds may still blow, and challenges may still appear. But what has changed is you. You no longer respond as one being carried away, but you stand as one established in me. God is our refuge and strength, Psalm 46:1, not as an idea, but as the operating foundation of your life. The difference of this new season is not in external circumstances, but in the internal center that has been reformed within you. You no longer carry a heart easily shaken by what happens around you, but a heart whose rhythm is aligned with the will of heaven. When you speak, the spiritual atmosphere will recognize authority not originating from man, but from the one who lives within you. And when you are silent, peace will not withdraw, but will spread like the fragrance of my presence in the holy place. My beloved child, you do not need to strive to create influence, for my presence within you is itself influence. You do not need to seek validation from outside, for you have already been established within my eternal design. And as you walk in this awareness, you will see that what once caused you fear no longer has authority over you. My child, I am forming within you a kind of leadership that does not belong to the world, a leadership through light, through love, through presence, not so that you stand above others, but so that you stand in me and from there reach others. And as you do this, I will make your life a living testimony of my kingdom at work in the midst of the world. Therefore, walk not in anxiety, but in the assurance that I am with you in every step. You are not alone, not abandoned, not pushed outside of the process. You are at the very center of what I am doing. And through you it will extend not as a temporary echo, but as the enduring presence of my life in the world. My beloved child, let these words sink into your soul like light entering the dawn, quiet, yet certain and unstoppable. From this moment forward, I am not only guiding you through visible steps, but I am marking each of your steps with the imprint of my eternal presence. You are the light of the world, Matthew 5:14, not as a symbolic title, but as a nature I am engraving within your life. You do not need to strive to become what I have placed within you. You do not need to generate light, for light does not come from human effort, but from connection to my source. You only need to remain in me, and the light will naturally radiate through your every breath, every word, every presence. Whoever remains in me and I in them bears much fruit. John 15:5. For true life always expresses itself without striving. My beloved one, I am teaching you to walk as one who carries the intersection of two realms. You still live in the world, yet you no longer fully belong to its value system. You speak the language of humanity, yet within you flows a current of understanding from heaven. This does not separate you from others. It makes you a bridge between the visible and the invisible. You are not removed from life, but placed within life with a deeper dimension. My beloved child, understand this in the quietness of your soul. I do not set you apart from the world to isolate you, but to carry my presence into the midst of the world. As you walk, you do not carry my name as an external symbol, but my very presence is flowing through you as a living stream. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age, Matthew 28:20, not as a distant promise, but as a reality covering every moment of your life. You will begin to realize that when you move among crowds, without any outward display, those who come into contact with you will sense a peace they cannot explain. When you are in silence, that stillness will no longer feel empty, but filled with my presence. You do not need to try to produce light, for the light within you does not depend on emotion or effort. It flows from the eternal source I have placed within you. I do not send you out to carry my name as a reward, but to let my love flow through you like a river of living water. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. John 7:38, not to be stored for yourself, but to bring refreshment to dry places. When you meet someone weak, you do not need to become something great. You only need to become the presence of comfort. When you meet someone in pain, you do not need complex words. You simply allow my peace to flow through you. When you encounter darkness, you do not need to fight in your own strength. You only need to stand in the light I have placed within you, and the darkness will naturally withdraw. My beloved child, remember this: you are not an independent light, separated from the source. You are a reflection of the eternal. A ray of light cannot exist apart from its source. And likewise, your life only finds its true meaning when it reflects me. This does not make you smaller, it places you in your rightful position. For in that reflection, the world does not see you first, but sees me living and active through you. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand more deeply. Your existence in me carries power beyond what you imagine, not because you are in control, but because I am the one who is operating. When you enter a place, you are not first carrying yourself, you are carrying my presence within you. And that presence does not need noise in order to be recognized. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. True light does not struggle against darkness, it simply exists. And darkness is compelled to change. You do not need to strive to be seen as significant. You only need to remain in me, and I will make your life a place where others rediscover their direction. Those who are lost will not find me through empty words, but through the peace they encounter when they touch your life. Those who are broken will not be lifted by human strength, but by the healing that flows through you from me. My child, I am establishing within you a way of life where presence and mission are no longer separated. You are not only working for me, you are carrying me in every moment of your life. And as you walk in this way, you will realize there is no need to prove anything, because your very life has become testimony. Therefore, walk in this peace, not the peace of external silence, but the peace of inner establishment. You are not searching for light, you are carrying light. And that light does not belong to you, but to the one who lives within you, and through you is touching this world in a way only heaven can accomplish. My beloved child, receive this blessing not as a passing idea, but as a seal being engraved into the depths of your soul. For I do not speak words merely to soothe emotions, but to establish a new reality within your life. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24-26. This is not only an ancient declaration, but a living flow still active over you today. Peace will go before you, not as a temporary feeling, but as a spiritual guide opening paths through places that once caused you anxiety. Grace will follow you, not allowing you to fall behind in lack, but covering every step with unseen yet constant support. And my glory will rest upon you like a garment of light, not to elevate you in human terms, but to make your life a visible sign of my presence in this world. My beloved child, understand this clearly within your soul. You are no longer in a stage of being tested merely to see whether you can stand firm. You are now within the reality of a kingship that has been formed through that very process. What you have walked through is no longer only a journey of learning, but has become the foundation for commissioning. You are no longer standing in a process of searching, but walking within a mission that has already been established. For I know the plans I have for you. Jeremiah 29:11, not as a distant promise, but as a divine blueprint now being unfolded in your life. You are no longer one who is merely called in a moment, but one who is moving within the flow of what has been ordained. I want you to engrave this deeply within your heart as an unchanging seal when heaven and the soul meet. Every limitation is broken, and destiny begins to operate. That encounter is not a distant event, it is the present reality within you now. There is no longer a separation between what I have ordained and what you are living, for I am making them one continuous flow. You are not an accident, you are chosen, not because you were worthy by yourself, but because my eternal love and purpose placed you within this current. And now, destiny is no longer something ahead of you as an idea, but something walking with you, within you, and through you. Go forth, my beloved child, not as one who is searching for a path, but as one who is already within the path I have opened. You do not need to wander in uncertainty, for I am moving within you. You do not walk alone, for my presence does not stand beside you, it dwells within the very rhythm of your life. When you walk, know that I am walking. When you stop, I am still there. When you speak, my word flows through you. When you are silent, my presence still covers you like an unbroken stream of light. My beloved one, live as one who has been established, not as one still waiting for confirmation, not as one standing on the edge, but as one standing in the center of what I am doing. From now on, every step you take is no longer separate from my kingdom, but becomes part of its unfolding. And when you look back, you will understand that not a single moment was meaningless. All of it has led you here to the place where heaven and the soul are no longer separated, but walk together within a destiny that was already completed in me from the beginning. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely a listener, you are one chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you do not miss any spiritual messages. Amen. My beloved child, before you try to rush through the busyness of your days, I want you to pause your heart for a moment. Like a pilgrim resting beside a deep well, to listen to the echo of their own heartbeat in the stillness. Not every word from heaven descends like thunder tearing across the sky. There are times when I come very gently, very near, like a breeze brushing across a field at dawn, like a tender breath touching a weary soul. It is in that hidden place, when you think nothing is happening, that I am calling you by the name I have kept for you since before you were born. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. So the calling you sense is not the imagination of a fragile heart, nor the fading echo of passing emotions. It is the touch of the one who has known you from eternity, awakening the deepest place within you, a place that has never belonged to the noise of the world, but only to me. There are seasons when you walk through days so long that even you do not understand what you are waiting for. Your prayers seem to rise without reply. Your tears fall unseen, and hope lies quietly beneath the dust of delayed time. In such moments, you may think that heaven has fallen silent, that the door has closed, that you have been left behind in some hidden corner of the journey. But I tell you this, my silence has never been my absence. The stillness you fear is often the cradle I use to nurture something greater than your eyes can perceive. Like a seed buried in dark soil, it is not dying, it is quietly breaking open in preparation for a season of growth. In the same way, your soul in the silent season is not forgotten, but being formed. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. I do not ask you to be still so that you feel empty. I ask you to be still so that you begin to recognize that even when there is no sound, my hand is still at work in depths beyond human sight. Remember the boy Samuel in the temple long ago, in the night, while the lamp of God had not yet gone out. He heard his name being called. At first, he thought it was his teacher's voice, so he ran to him, then returned, confused, not yet realizing that it was I who was calling. But in that sacred stillness, a child learned to discern the voice of heaven from the voice of man. And from that moment, his destiny was forever changed. This story is not for you to read and pass by. I place it before you, so you may understand that many times you are hearing my voice without recognizing it. You are being called, yet you think it is only a fleeting impression, an unnamed stirring, a quiet vibration in the long night. But no, my child, when I call, I do not merely awaken your ears, I awaken your destiny. Samuel was a call that opened a life set apart. And today, when I call your name in the secret place, I am drawing you out of uncertainty into discernment, out of noise into listening, out of the fear of being insignificant into the revelation that you have been chosen and set apart. Therefore, my beloved child, do not despise the moments when you are alone, when no one seems to understand you, when the silence stretches beyond what you feel you can endure. The world often celebrates what is bright, loud, and crowded, but I most often do my deepest work in hidden places. I met Moses in the wilderness, not in the palace. I shaped David's heart in the fields, not on the throne. I called Samuel in the stillness of the night, not in the public square. And in the same way, I am coming to you in the least visible places of your life. As it is written, your Father, who sees in secret, will reward you. Matthew 6:6. What I am doing in you today may not be understood by others, but that does not make it any less real. There are preparations that must take place in the dark to preserve their purity. There are divine encounters that must happen in stillness, so they are not distorted by the noise of the world. I know that you have longed for a clear sign, for a door to open wide before your eyes, for an answer so unmistakable that no doubt could remain. But my child, mature faith does not only learn to recognize me in obvious miracles, it also learns to discern me in the gentle breath, in the delay, in the pause between seasons. Elijah stood before the wind, the earthquake, and the fire, yet I was not in them. Only after the noise passed did he recognize me in the still, small voice. This is not because my power is diminished, but because I am teaching my servant something deeper. Those who seek me only in great manifestations will miss me in ordinary days, but those who love my presence will find me even in whispers. I do not always begin with outward disruption before bringing inward healing. Often, I begin by quieting your soul, so that you may carry that peace through the storm without losing yourself. As it is written, He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Psalm 23:2-3. Do you see, my child, my gentleness is not weakness. It is the strength that keeps you from breaking. So when it feels as though heaven has fallen silent, do not be quick to conclude that I have withdrawn. Let your faith become more refined than your confusion. Let your heart learn to lean toward my presence rather than demand constant noise. I am teaching you to listen with your spirit, not only with your ears, to perceive through communion, not merely through reasoning. And once you learn this, you will no longer depend on outward changes to know whether I am with you. For within you there will be a lamp that never goes out, a quiet yet steady witness that I am there. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. That light does not always flood the sky. Sometimes it only illuminates the next step. But that is enough to keep you from losing your way. So now, my child, I am not asking you to strive for something grand in order to prove yourself worthy of this calling. I am asking you to remain tender in heart, to listen, to guard your inner being from being swept away by noise, and to trust that in the deepest place within you, I am already at work. You are not forgotten. You are not late. You have not been misplaced in my eternal design. On the contrary, the very moments that seem the least eventful to you may in fact be the moments when heaven is writing its most significant lines upon your soul. I am calling you not to become louder, but to become deeper, not to be immediately seen by the world, but to be truly transformed, not to chase after countless voices, but to recognize the one voice that is sufficient to lead you through your entire journey. So come near to me, my child. Rest in the gentleness of my presence. Let the whisper of heaven become your renewed strength. For the one who knows how to bow in stillness before me will stand firm amid the shaking of this world, and will rise with a soul that has been called, taught, loved, and made ready to belong fully to me. My beloved child, I know there are times when your heart longs for a sign so unmistakable that it cannot be denied, a voice so resounding that it silences every doubt, a confirmation so powerful that you no longer have to walk through the dim places of faith. But my child, I do not always choose to speak in that way, not because I am distant, but because I desire to draw you closer. If I were to shout above the noise of the world, you might hear me, but you would not need to change. Yet when I speak in gentleness, in a quiet whisper, you are invited indeed, compelled to draw near, to step away from distractions, to lower your heart in order to truly listen. As it is written, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. Jeremiah 29:13. It is not that I am hiding from you, but that I am inviting you into relationship, not merely delivering information. I do not speak from afar as one outside your life. I speak from within, so that you may come to know that I dwell in the deepest place of your being, where no noise of this world can reach. There are days when you find yourself asking, why does he not speak more clearly? Why does everything remain so indistinct? Yet you do not realize that this very obscurity is teaching you something far greater than any obvious answer ever could. It is teaching you how to trust without seeing, how to discern without needing proof, how to remain without requiring guarantees. Your faith is not built upon dramatic manifestations, but upon steadfastness in stillness. As it is written, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. And when you choose to remain in that quiet place, without turning away, without seeking substitutes, without abandoning the process, you are growing into something the world can never offer. I do not desire for you to depend only on radiant moments. I desire for you to become one who can recognize me even when nothing outward seems to change. Remember the story of Naaman, the powerful commander who came seeking healing. He expected something grand, a dramatic gesture, a powerful declaration worthy of his status. Yet what he received was a simple instruction to go down to the Jordan River and wash 7 times. At first, he was offended because it seemed too ordinary, too unremarkable to match his expectations. But it was precisely when he humbled himself and obeyed that the miracle occurred. Do you see? My child, I do not always act in ways that align with what you think is fitting for me. I act in ways that are necessary to transform you. If Naaman had insisted on something spectacular, he would have missed the healing hidden within simplicity. In the same way, if you only look for powerful signs, you may overlook my voice, speaking through the most ordinary moments of your life. As it is written, my ways are higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts, Isaiah 55:9. And within that difference, I am leading you into a depth you have never yet touched. So, my child, whenever you find yourself standing in a long stretch of silence, do not rush to conclude that it is delay or abandonment. See it instead as an invitation, not an invitation to do more, but to return. Return to the place where it all began, where there is no pressure to prove your worth, where you do not need to strive for acceptance, where you are simply yourself before me. Draw near to God, and He will draw near to you. James 4:8. This nearness is not built upon performance, but upon presence. I am not waiting for you to bring something perfect. I am waiting for you to come with a sincere heart. There are things you believe I require from you that I have never demanded. What I have always desired is your true self, unhidden, unpolished, unforced. In that secret place, I do not measure how much you have accomplished, nor do I weigh you by the standards of the world. I look at only one thing. Are you there with me? When I called Samuel in the night, I was not waiting for a long, eloquent prayer, but simply for recognition and response. And when he said, "Speak, for your servant is listening," 1 Samuel 3:10, a new journey began. It is the same with you. I do not need you to speak much for me to hear. I need you to be still enough to hear me. And sometimes, a simple response from your heart, a quiet, "Here I am," carries more weight than 1,000 words spoken in anxiety and distraction. Do not think, my child, that this stillness is a punishment. No, it is grace. It is the space I create so your soul may rest from the constant demands, from the pressure to become someone according to the expectations of others. In stillness, I begin to remove the layers you have unknowingly placed upon yourself. In stillness, I lead you back to your original being where you no longer need to prove anything, but simply belong to me. As it is written, yes, my soul, find rest in God. My hope comes from Him. Psalm 62:5. This quietness does not weaken you. It deepens you. It does not strip you of strength. It restores your strength to its true source. So, my beloved, when I call, I do not call with overwhelming noise to astonish you. I call with gentleness to transform you. Every time you choose to pause, every time you embrace silence in a world filled with sound, every time you turn inward instead of running outward, you are drawing closer to me. And every whisper you perceive, no matter how small, is a thread of light, gently pulling your soul back to its true source. Do not underestimate these moments, for it is within them that I am shaping you, guiding you, and calling you by name in a way no one else can. And now, I wait for something very simple from you. Not a perfect plan, not a grand promise, only your presence. When I ask, "Are you here?" I am not searching for perfection in your response. I am seeking truth. And if you answer, "Here I am," with sincerity, with vulnerability, with your whole authentic self, that is enough to open the door to the relationship I have always desired. For within a single, "Here I am," spoken in stillness, there is more faith than in 1,000 anxious words, repeated without rest. From that place, you will begin to hear more clearly, see more deeply, and walk more steadily, not because you possess all the answers, but because you know that I am with you, within you, guiding you step by step. My beloved child, let your heart settle like still waters after the wind is past, for I am leading you into a depth that not many are willing to enter. I do not draw you away from the noise so that you feel isolated, but so that you may be reformed in your true identity. Many can hear, but few truly listen. Many can speak, but few understand what they are saying. Many can pray, but their hearts have never fully believed. Therefore, I set you apart from those crowded currents, not so you would be lost, but so you may be found. As it is written, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him." Psalm 37:7. For in that stillness I am teaching you a lesson. No spoken teaching can convey the lesson of full presence, where you no longer live scattered, but become one with my presence. My child, the calling I have placed upon you cannot be carried by a shallow soul or ears, accustomed only to outward noise. Those who carry what is of heaven must learn to discern what is unseen. They must learn to hear not only sound, but the intention behind it. I am not merely teaching you to hear with your ears, but to perceive with your spirit. For whoever has ears, let them hear what the Spirit says. Revelation 2:7. This is not about biological ability, but about spiritual depth, where you can distinguish my voice among countless others. And to arrive there, you must learn silence. Not silence born of weakness, but silence that comes from maturity, mature enough not to need to prove yourself, steady enough not to argue, deep enough to understand that some things can only be received in stillness. Remember Jesus, my child, during his days upon the earth. He was never carried away by the hurried rhythm of the crowd. When people pressed him, he withdrew. When they demanded miracles, he sought solitude to pray. And in the face of relentless accusations, he chose silence not because he lacked an answer, but because he did not need to defend himself. As it is written, he was oppressed and afflicted, yet he did not open his mouth. Isaiah 53:7. Do you see, my child? His silence was not emptiness, it was power under control. In that stillness, he preserved perfect union with me. And from that union, every word he spoke and every act he performed carried authority from heaven. I am teaching you the same truth. Not every moment requires your voice. There are times when your silence becomes the clearest place for me to be revealed. So do not be afraid when you feel set apart from the restless pace of the world. Do not assume you are being left behind when everything around you seems to be moving quickly. I am not slowing you down to delay you, but to deepen you. The world teaches you to run so you will not miss out. I teach you to pause so you will not lose yourself. Whoever believes will not act hastily. Isaiah 28:16. For such a person understands that my timing is not governed by human urgency. Those who move quickly may travel far, but not all will go deep. Yet those who walk with me at my pace will reach depths others never encounter. My beloved child, what I am whispering to you in this season is not a call to increased activity, but an invitation to presence. Not do more, but draw nearer. Not move faster, but stand more firmly. For before you can carry anything into the world, you must learn how to carry me within your own soul. Abide in me, and I in you. John 15:4. This abiding is not a momentary act, but a continuous state, a way of being in which you remain within my presence, regardless of changing circumstances. Only when you abide in me can you step out without being swept away. I know there are wounds within you that you cannot put into words, questions you do not even know how to ask, and weariness you have grown accustomed to hiding. That is why I do not speak loudly in a way that would overwhelm you. I whisper so that I may heal you. In the stillness, I touch the places you have never dared to face. I soothe the tensions you do not know how to release. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. This healing does not happen in haste, but in patience, in the quiet moments when you allow yourself to stop and simply be with me. And as every other sound begins to fade, you will start to hear what matters most, the rhythm of your own heart. Yet you will come to realize it is no longer your rhythm alone. It is being drawn into mine. The life within you will no longer be governed by fear or pressure, but by peace and direction that come from me. The peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. That peace is not the absence of problems, it is my presence in the midst of them all. Therefore, my child, do not rush forward when I am teaching you to stand still. Do not force yourself to speak when I am teaching you silence. Do not seek affirmation from the outside when I am building certainty within you. Those who carry glory are not the loudest, but the deepest, and that depth is not formed in haste, but through slow steps, quiet hours, and a steady abiding in my presence. Learn the art of moving slowly, for that is the rhythm of heaven. Learn to remain, for that is where strength is formed. Learn to listen, for that is where my intentions are revealed. And when you have been shaped deeply enough, you will step out not as one swept along by the current of life, but as one who carries the current of heaven within. In that moment, you will no longer need to run to prove anything, for your very presence will speak, and I will be there in you, through you guiding every step, not too fast, not too slow, but perfectly aligned with my timing. My beloved, allow me to correct the way you perceive the silent seasons you are walking through. For often, what confuses you is not your circumstance, but your interpretation of it. You are quick to assume that when external voices grow quiet, when those who once stood beside you are no longer as present, it must be a sign of loss. But I tell you this, in those very moments that feel empty, I am drawing nearer than you have ever perceived. I do not withdraw when the world becomes quiet. I move closer. I do not remain silent to abandon you. I become still so that you can hear me. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted, Psalm 34:18. And that nearness is not always accompanied by great sound, but is most often found in a gentleness that only a quiet soul can discern. So do not confuse stillness with abandonment. When it feels as though no one is speaking to you, it is not an empty void. It is space I am filling with my whisper. When human affirmation fade, you begin to learn how to recognize affirmation from me. And I am not looking for loud or outward displays from you. I am seeking a genuine response from the depths of your being. Not lips that say what is right, but a heart that answers what is true. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Matthew 15. I do not want that for you. I do not require perfect words. I desire authentic presence. When you quietly say within yourself, I am still here, even when no one hears it, even when nothing seems to change immediately, all of heaven takes notice. That is not a small response. It is faithfulness proven in the hidden place where there is no audience, no immediate reward, only you and me. Do you know, my child, that the souls who remain present in the dry seasons are those I hold especially dear? When emotions no longer sustain you, when circumstances no longer encourage you, when there are no clear signs to cling to, yet you still choose to remain, that is when your faith becomes refined. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life. James 1:12. Your faithfulness in unseen moments does not disappear. It is remembered, it is acknowledged, and I, who see in secret, do not forget a single moment when you chose to remain instead of walking away. That is the response of a soul, beginning to truly know me, no longer driven by emotion, but anchored in truth. You are in a season, my child, that not everyone will recognize or understand the value of. This is not a season of display, but a season of hidden calling. What is taking place within you is not designed for immediate visibility or approval. People may look at your outward life and see little change, unaware that something profound is unfolding beneath the surface. But I do not work on the surface, I work at the root. If the roots are not strong, the tree will not stand when the wind comes. If the roots are not deep, the tree will not draw water in times of drought. So while others wait for visible signs, I am quietly establishing your foundation. As it is written, the righteous will be like a tree planted by the waters. Its leaves will not wither. Jeremiah 17:8. Yet before there can be flourishing leaves, there must be deep roots. And roots do not grow in bright light, but in the dark soil unseen, yet essential for true life to take hold. I do not rush to bring you into the light when the inner work is not yet complete, not because you are lacking, but because I understand the value of process. What is built quickly may impress, but what is formed rightly will endure. So when you feel as though you are moving more slowly than others, do not compare. I am not writing your story like anyone else's. I am not measuring your journey by the standards of the world. I am preparing you for something only you can carry. And to do that, I need you to be deep, steady, and clear in your awareness of me. Remember Samuel, who as a child heard his name called in the night. It was not once, but several times. At first, he did not recognize that it was me, and he ran to the familiar voice he knew. But through repetition, he was being taught to discern. And when he finally responded rightly, "Speak, for your servant is listening," 1 Samuel 3:10, a new door opened in his life. Do you see? My child, my repeated calling is not a sign of confusion, but of instruction. I am teaching you how to recognize me, and once you have learned, you will no longer be uncertain. My voice will become more familiar to you than any other, and your discernment will grow so sharp that you are no longer led by emotion or circumstance, but by the inner knowing that comes from me. My beloved child, what I am waiting for is not a great achievement from you, but a true yes. Not a yes spoken to please or perform, but a yes born from the deep knowing that I am the one leading you. When you say yes in the hidden place, you are agreeing with the process, agreeing with the formation, agreeing with the way I am working, even when you cannot yet see the full picture. And it is that quiet yes that opens the door for what will later be revealed. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. If you can respond to me in the silence, you will stand firm when I bring you into the open. So do not be afraid of this season. Do not rush to escape it. Do not try to fill it with other noises. Remain. Listen. Respond with a sincere heart, for I am here closer than you think, clearer than you feel. And when the time comes, you will step forward, not as one seeking affirmation, but as one who has been established, not as one needing a voice, but as one who carries authority. And in that moment, you will understand that none of the quiet seasons you have passed through were meaningless. They were the very places where I called you, taught you, and prepared you to become what I intended from the beginning. My beloved, let your heart settle like an evening when the wind has ceased to stir the fields. For in that stillness, I am revealing what hurried minds cannot grasp. You often think that great things must arrive with powerful sounds and radiant signs. Yet I choose a very different way. I do not whisper to the noisy crowd, I whisper to the souls who are close enough to recognize who I am. So if you hear that gentle yet profound calling, do not dismiss it as insignificant. It is the sign that you are within my nearness. As it is written, be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not only so that you may stop, but so that you may realize that in your stillness, I am drawing nearer than any effort of your own striving could bring you. My child, the softest calls are often the ones that reach deepest into the soul. Those who are accustomed only to noise will miss them. But those who learn to listen with their whole heart will come to recognize that this is the language of heaven. I am teaching you to treasure the silence, not as an emptiness to be filled, but as a sacred space where relationship is formed. I will lead her into the wilderness and speak tenderly to her. Hosea 2:14. The wilderness is not a place of abandonment. It is where I remove every distraction so that you are left with me alone. And in that place, I do not require perfection from you. I simply invite you to be fully present. There is a story you must carry within your heart. My child, David, before he ever became a king, spent long years in the fields without an audience, without recognition, with only the sheep and the long nights beneath a silent sky. It was there, in that hidden place where no one was watching, that he learned to recognize me in the whisper of the wind, in the rhythm of creation, in the quiet moments that others would overlook. And from that secret place, he was able to declare with certainty, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Psalm 23:1. Do you see? My child, he did not learn this upon a throne, but in solitude. I am doing the same within you. Before I bring you into the open, I draw you into the hidden. Before you can carry anything to the world, I teach you how to receive from me. So do not rush to search for me as though I were far away. I have never left you. I am with you, always, even to the end of the age. Matthew 28:20. You do not need to look for me in complicated or distant places. I am present in every breath you take, in every heartbeat you feel. When you pause and become aware, you will realize that the life within you is not random. It is my imprint. And every moment of stillness in your day, no matter how brief, can become a doorway into my presence. My beloved, even the tears you try to hide do not fall without meaning. I am there, touching the places within you that you do not want anyone to see, soothing the wounds you have grown used to carrying alone. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. My healing is not loud. It seeps into you like water into dry ground, quiet, yet deeply transformative. And it is often in your weakest moments that you are closest to me, because you are no longer striving, no longer hiding, but becoming real. Learn to pause, my child, not because you have failed, but because you are being invited into a deeper place. Listen to your own breath, not merely as a biological function, but as a reminder that I am there, sustaining you, holding you, surrounding you. In Him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. This means you have never been outside of me, not even for a single moment. So you do not need to strive to find me anymore. I am not hiding to test you. I am present so that you may recognize me. In the quiet room, in the unseen hours, in the silences you once thought were empty, I am there. And I am still calling your name, not with a sound your ears can hear, but with a deep knowing your soul cannot deny. I have called you by name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Therefore, be at peace. Let your worries dissolve like morning mist beneath the rising sun. Let your heart respond not with urgency, but with presence. For the one who is called in a whisper is not forgotten, but chosen for something deeper. And as you learn to remain in that stillness, you will come to realize a truth that cannot be shaken. I have never left you, and my call over your life continues to resound quietly, faithfully, and full of love. My beloved child, when I have called you in the place of stillness, and you have responded with a sincere heart, do not assume that the next step will immediately be public light or wide open doors before you. I do not rush to send you out, for what I care about is not only whether you will go, but whether you will remain steady when the winds begin to rise. The calling may awaken you, but only formation will keep you on the path. As it is written, whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in much. Luke 16:10. I do not begin with grand things in you. I begin with the small details that others may overlook. Yet it is there that your true nature is shaped. My child, many believe that strong emotions are enough to preserve what is sacred. But emotions are like the wind, they come and go. What I have placed within you cannot be sustained by such shifting currents. It requires a deeper, firmer foundation, built upon principles and discipline. So, what I am doing in you is not to restrain you, but to teach you how to guard what is precious. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23. When you learn to guard your heart, you are no longer carried away by every external voice, no longer shaken by every opinion, no longer losing your direction when your feelings change. You begin to live from the inside out, rather than being pulled from the outside in. Remember Daniel, who lived in an environment that did not belong to him, where everything around him could have caused him to lose his identity. Yet, he established within himself a boundary that could not be crossed. He did not wait until the test came to decide. He had already resolved in his heart that he would not defile himself. And it was that discipline that sustained him when pressure intensified. Daniel resolved not to defile himself. Daniel 1:8. Do you see, my child? His strength did not come from favorable circumstances, but from faithfulness in the small choices of each day. And when the greater trial arrived, he did not have to strive to become strong, he already was. My beloved, if you desire to carry light far, you must first learn to tend the flame within you. A fire that is not guarded will easily be extinguished when the wind comes. And the wind will come in the form of misunderstanding, pressure, loneliness, and words spoken against you. But if you have learned to keep the flame in the hidden place, those winds will no longer threaten you. They will simply reveal what has already been strengthened. Watch and pray so that you will not fall into temptation. Matthew 26:41. This watchfulness is not tension, but a continual awareness of what you carry and how you protect it. Discipline, my child, is not a chain meant to bind you. It is an art that teaches you how to remain faithful to what I have placed within you. The one without discipline may believe they are free, yet they are easily pulled in every direction by what surrounds them. But the one who lives with discipline learns how to say no to what does not belong, so that they may say a wholehearted yes to what has been entrusted to them. As it is written, I have the right to do anything. You say, but not everything is beneficial. 1 Corinthians 10:23. True freedom is not the ability to do whatever you desire. True freedom is the ability to choose what is right, even when many other options seem appealing. I know, my child, that you may think grace means there are no boundaries, that my love will cover you no matter how you live. That is true, but it is not complete. My grace does not only cover you, it shapes you. The grace of God teaches us to say no to ungodliness and worldly passions, and to live self-controlled, upright, and godly lives. Titus 2:11-12. Do you see? Grace does not make you careless. It trains you to live with order. It does not remove responsibility. It empowers you to live according to what I have called you to become. So, when I place boundaries in your life, do not see them as limitations. They are protection. A river without banks cannot flow with strength. It will spread aimlessly and lose its direction. But when it is contained, its current is guided, focused, and powerful. You are the same. The boundaries I establish are not meant to confine you, but to direct you so that you do not lose yourself in uncontrolled freedom. Everything should be done in a fitting and orderly way. 1 Corinthians 14:40. For in order, strength is released in its proper form. My beloved, a soul without inner boundaries becomes easily unsettled, loses its peace, and is influenced by things that do not belong to it. But when you live with discipline, you learn what should be allowed in and what must remain outside the door of your heart. You become a guardian of your own being, and in that guarding, my peace is preserved within you, not because the world around you has changed, but because a new order has been established within you. So do not fear this process of training. Do not rush to step out while I am still building your inner foundation. For when you are formed deeply enough, firmly enough, and clearly enough in discipline and faithfulness, then when I send you, you will not be shaken. You will not need to strive to hold what I have given you, because you will have become someone who can carry it naturally. Remember, my child, what I entrust to you is sacred, and what is sacred always carries a cost. But that cost is not meant to burden you. It is the pathway that makes you worthy of what you carry. And I walk with you through every step of this formation, not forcing you, not abandoning you, but guiding, shaping, and preserving you until you stand firm in what I have ordained from the beginning. My beloved, as I begin to train you in faithfulness and discipline, I am not only shaping your actions, I am reaching into the small, often unnoticed details that ultimately determine the direction of your life. One of these is your speech. You may think words are fleeting sounds, But in the spiritual realm, they carry weight. They do not merely express what is within you, they also shape what unfolds around you. That is why I remind you, do not speak everything you feel, but speak what carries life. The tongue has the power of life and death, Proverbs 18:21. Do you see? Your words are not neutral. They either build or tear down, either open or close. And when you understand this, you will no longer treat your words lightly. There are things you sense within your heart, my child. Yet not everything is meant to be spoken aloud. Some burdens are meant to be carried into prayer, not released carelessly before others. Some things I place within you are like tender seeds, too early to be exposed, needing to be nurtured in secrecy before they can be revealed in their proper time. As it is written, those who guard their mouths and their tongues keep themselves from calamity. Proverbs 21:23. You do not need to share everything to prove that you are alive or progressing. You only need to remain faithful to what I am doing within you. The enemy is not threatened by loud, unfocused words. It is cautious of a soul that knows how to keep silent, how to wait for the right moment, how to discern when to speak and when to remain quiet. Such a person is not exposed prematurely, not scattered, not drained by unnecessary speech. Remember Nehemiah, when he began rebuilding the wall, when opposition arose and sought to draw him away from his work, he did not rush to answer every challenge. He did not reveal his plans or engage in fruitless argument. Instead, he kept his heart focused on what I had entrusted to him. And through that steadiness, the work was completed. Do you see? My child, strength is not always found in speaking more, but in knowing when to hold your words. One who governs their speech preserves not only their peace, but also their direction. Those who guard their lips preserve their lives. Proverbs 13:3. When you master your words, you are no longer led by emotion. You become one who leads yourself. But it is not only your speech that must be guarded. You must also learn to watch over your eyes. Your eyes are not merely instruments of sight. They are gateways through which things enter your soul. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Matthew 6:22. What you look at consistently, what you fix your attention upon, what you allow to occupy your focus, these things quietly shape you. If you continually look at what others have, your heart will drift into comparison, and gratitude will begin to fade. If you dwell on the faults of others, you will gradually lose the ability to see what is good, not only in them, but in yourself. I am not simply teaching you to avoid what is wrong, for avoidance alone can still leave you empty. I am teaching you to choose what is right. Fix your eyes on the light, on the purpose I have set before you, on what nourishes life within you. Peter walked upon the water while his eyes were fixed on me, but when he turned his gaze to the wind and the waves, he began to sink. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith. Hebrews 12:2. What you behold determines whether you stand or fall, whether you move forward or retreat. When your eyes are disciplined, your heart will be anchored. My beloved, discipline in your speech and discipline in your sight are not minor matters. They are gates that guard the wisdom within you. If a gate is opened at the wrong time, what is precious may be lost. But when it is rightly guarded, what I have placed within you will be preserved and allowed to grow. I do not teach you these things to burden you, but to establish you. A person who does not guard their words and their vision becomes easily scattered, but one who does will become deep, focused, and full of authority. So, my child, and ask yourself, does this carry life? Be watchful in what you see, and ask, where is this leading me? When you live this way, you will no longer be carried along by an undefined current, but will become one who chooses wisely, who preserves carefully, who builds intentionally. And within that discipline, you will discover something remarkable. My peace will not only be with you, but will remain established within you, regardless of what unfolds around you. Remember this, my beloved, I have placed something precious within you, and to preserve it, I entrust you with the responsibility to guard it, not to make you fearful, but to help you grow, not to confine you, but to protect you. And when you are faithful in guarding your words and your sight, you will become one who can carry what I have given without losing it, one who can walk through the world without being shaped by it. I am with you in every step, teaching you, reminding you, and leading you into the steadiness I have already prepared for your life. Yet, my child, when I teach you to guard your speech and your eyes, I do not stop there. For your ears are also a gateway, one that many overlook, yet one that shapes you deeply. What you listen to, you will gradually believe, and what you believe, you will eventually become. That is why I remind you, guard what you allow into your hearing. For faith comes from hearing, and hearing through the Word of God, Romans 10:17. If your ears are filled with complaint, negativity, and voices that weaken your spirit, your soul will slowly be covered with a haze that makes truth harder to discern. But if you choose to listen to what carries life, what reminds you of my word, what strengthens your faith, then within you, something will be built quietly, yet firmly. My child, every word you hear does not simply pass by. It plants a seed in the soil of your heart. Some seeds are so small you do not notice them at first. Yet over time they grow into thoughts, then into emotions, and eventually into decisions. So do not allow negative voices to become the background noise of your mind. Do not become so accustomed to complaint that it feels normal. I am teaching you to discern, to choose carefully, like a farmer selecting good seed for planting. Hold fast to what is good, 1 Thessalonians 5:21. There will be times when you must intentionally quiet external voices, not out of fear, but because you are protecting what is valuable within you. Remember Mary. When the angel brought her a message far beyond human understanding, she did not rush to announce it everywhere to seek confirmation. Instead, she treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. Luke 2:19. Do you see? My child, there are words from heaven that are not meant to be immediately amplified. They must be held, reflected upon, and nurtured in stillness. Your faith is not sustained by constantly chasing something new, but by returning to what I have already spoken. Truth does not need to change to remain powerful. It needs to be remembered so that it becomes alive within you. So, my beloved, there will be seasons when I draw you away from the constant flow of information, away from overlapping voices, so that you may hear one thing again, my voice. And when you return to it, you will realize that I have never stopped speaking. It is simply that you had been distracted. When you come back, your faith does not need to be rebuilt from nothing. It only needs to be awakened. And not only your ears, I also desire for you to learn how to guard your time. Time is not merely a sequence of passing days. It is a gift I place in your hands each morning. Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. Psalm 90:12. Every day you awaken is not ordinary. It is an opportunity given, a space in which you plant what will shape your future. And I do not look at your time to judge you, but to see what you are building with it. Those who are entrusted with purpose do not live randomly, guided only by fleeting inspiration. They understand that each hour carries weight. Yet I do not desire for you to live under pressure, trying to fill every moment. The world teaches you to stay busy in order to feel valuable. I teach you to live with substance so that your life carries meaning. It is not about how full your schedule is, but about how deep your presence is within each moment. There is a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3:1. When you understand this, you will no longer waste your days, yet neither will you exhaust yourself. Learn, my child, to arrange your time as a wise steward. Make room for stillness, for it is there that you are renewed. Make room for prayer, for it is there that you are connected. Make room for learning, for it is there that you grow. And also make room for rest, for it is there that you are restored. Even I, in creation, established a day of rest as an example for you. Rest is not waste, it is wisdom in motion. My beloved, a soul that disciplines its time will never be poor in meaning. Such a person may not do the most, but they do what truly matters. They do not chase every opportunity, but they embrace what has been entrusted to them. And in that focus, they become strong, clear, and steady. So guard your ears, that you may hear only what nourishes your faith. Guard your time, that your days do not pass without purpose. When you do this, you will begin to see that your life is no longer driven by external pressures, but guided from within, and I will be there in every moment you choose rightly. In every decision you hold firm. In every day you live with intention, leading you step by step, not in haste, but with certainty, according to the plan I established for you from the beginning. My beloved child, when I speak to you about discipline, I am not only addressing what you do outwardly, I am touching the inner order that determines the true direction of your life. There will be days when you feel stretched between many choices, and the hardest part is not choosing between good and evil, but between what is good and what is right. You may engage in many things that appear meaningful, even earn recognition from others, but that does not mean they are what I have assigned to you. There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death. Proverbs 14:12. Wisdom, therefore, is not found in how much you do, but in your ability to discern what truly comes from me. My child, not every invitation is an opportunity, and not every opportunity comes from the light. Some things arrive with a pleasing appearance, yet if they do not come from me, they will scatter your focus, drain your strength, and pull you away from the core of what I have placed within you. The wise do not only know how to take hold, they also know how to refuse. When you learn to say no to what is not right, you are protecting what is right. When you decline what does not belong to you, you create space for what is mine to grow within you. I have the right to do anything. You say, but not everything is constructive. 1 Corinthians 10:23. And it is within that discernment that you begin to walk into your purpose with clarity and strength. Remember the story of Martha and Mary. My child, Martha was occupied with many acts of service, and what she did was not wrong, yet Mary chose to sit at my feet and listen. And I said that Mary had chosen what is better. Luke 10:42. Do you see? The issue is not whether you are doing something or not, but what is placed at the center. When you place me as your priority, everything else finds its rightful place. But when you allow work, even good work, to take the place of my presence, you will slowly become weary without understanding why. My beloved, true discipline begins when you restore the order within. I am at the center, and everything else revolves around me. When that order is established, you are no longer driven by what feels urgent, but guided by what is essential. You no longer react out of pressure, but act from direction. And from that place, your life becomes lighter, even if your responsibilities remain great. But I also want you to understand that discipline is not limited to your mind or spirit. It also involves your body. Your body is not an empty tool. It is a dwelling place I have chosen. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit? 1 Corinthians 6:19. When you care for your body, you are not merely maintaining health, you are honoring where I reside. When you eat with awareness, you are nourishing the space of life within you. When you rest with gratitude, you are acknowledging that you are not your own source. When you work with purpose, you are offering your actions as a living sacrifice. And when you serve with love, you allow me to move through you. My child, do not overlook your weariness. There are times when you are not weak in faith, you are simply exhausted in body. And when your body is unsettled, your soul will struggle to hear clearly. Come to me, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. That rest is not only spiritual, it also touches your physical being. I did not create you to live in constant strain. I created you to live in rhythm, working and resting, giving and receiving, pouring out and being renewed. A body that is not stewarded well will pull you away from the presence you are trying to maintain. But a body that is disciplined becomes an ally to your soul. When you sleep well, you hear more clearly. When you nourish yourself properly, you stand more firmly. When you work within limits, you do not become depleted. And when you know how to pause, you create space for me to speak. My beloved, everything I teach you is not to make you harsh with yourself, but to lead you into true freedom. A person without inner order will be carried away by everything around them, but one who is disciplined will stand firm even when chaos surrounds them. They do not chase everything, because they know what belongs to them. They do not strive to prove themselves, because they are already established. And they do not lose their direction, because within them there is an order formed by me. So, my child, learn to choose what is right, not merely what is good. Learn to say no in order to protect your yes. Care for your body, it is the temple I have entrusted to you, and keep your inner life in order, so that when I speak, you hear clearly. When I lead, you walk steadily, and when I send you, you go without being shaken. I am with you in every step, not forcing you, but guiding you so that you may become one who carries what I have given fully and faithfully. My beloved child, as I teach you discipline within your heart, your body, and your time, I also touch something far more subtle, yet deeply formative: your relationships. For you are not meant to walk alone, but neither are you meant to walk with everyone. The one who is chosen is not the one surrounded by many, but the one accompanied by the right ones. As it is written, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Proverbs 13:20. Do you see? My child, relationships are never neutral. They either lift you, pull you down, or slowly shift you away from what I have placed within you. I am not asking you to close your heart, but I am teaching you discernment. Not everyone who enters your life is meant to remain there. Some I send to strengthen you for a season. Some I allow to test you, to reveal what is still unformed within you. And some simply pass through, not to stay, but to complete a part of your journey. There is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18:24. But not every relationship carries that depth. Your wisdom is not found in holding on to everyone, but in recognizing who belongs in your life at the time I appoint. Discipline in relationships is not coldness or distance, it is maturity. There are moments when you must learn to step back, not because you do not love, but because not every closeness brings life. And there are moments when, if I place you near someone, you must learn to love without demanding, to give without controlling, to be present without possessing. Love one another deeply, from a pure heart. 1 Peter 1:22. True love does not cause you to lose yourself. It transforms you to become more like me. My child, when you learn to love in this way, you are no longer bound by dependence, nor closed off by fear of being hurt. You become free to love, because your identity is no longer rooted in the approval of others, but in me. And when you stand firm in that identity, you will no longer fear loss when someone walks away, because you will know that I am the one who holds all things. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Job 1:21, not to harm you, but to keep you from clinging to what was never meant to remain forever. I know, my beloved, that there are times when you feel weary of maintaining discipline, of discerning, of choosing, of holding boundaries. But look again at those I have used before. No one steps into great responsibility without first being trained in self-governance. Joseph did not ascend to the throne the moment he received the dream. He passed through the pit, the prison, the misunderstandings, and in those hidden places, he learned to guard his heart from bitterness and despair. The Lord was with Joseph, Genesis 39:2, not only in glory, but in confinement. And because he learned to govern himself where no one saw him, he was able to govern when all eyes were upon him. In the same way, David had the chance to end his enemy's life while hidden in the cave. Yet he restrained himself. He did not allow emotion to lead him, nor did he let injustice drive him to act wrongly. He understood that authority does not come from seizing power, but from receiving it from me. The Lord forbid that I should do such a thing. 1 Samuel 24:6. Do you see, my child? Before he was entrusted with authority over others, he learned to govern himself, and it was that self-control that opened the way for him to step into what I had ordained. My beloved, this is an unchanging principle. Those who are entrusted with authority are first tested in self-mastery. No one can sustain blessing if they have not learned to guard their heart. No one can stand in the light if they have not been faithful in the dark. Discipline is not an addition, it is the key. It opens doors that would otherwise remain closed. And without it, what I give can easily be lost. Therefore, my child, guard your relationships with awareness and discernment. Do not hold on to everyone, yet do not close your heart. Allow me to lead you to the right people at the right time. Have the courage to release when I tell you to release, and the courage to remain when I tell you to remain. Love with an open heart, but also with clear discernment. And in all things, keep me at the center, for only when I am there will every other relationship find its rightful place. Remember this, my beloved, discipline does not take away anything that truly belongs to you. It only removes what was never meant to remain. And as you walk in that discipline, you will see that what I give does not merely come, it stays. It does not merely touch you, it is established within you. I am leading you into a life that is not only blessed, but able to sustain blessing, and that is where true maturity in me begins. My beloved child, understand this deeply within your soul. The fact that you are hearing these words is not accidental, nor is it a meaningless coincidence among countless voices in the world. I have led you to this exact moment, this precise point in time, where your spirit is open enough to receive and still enough to listen. You did not choose me, but I chose you, John 15:16. So do not take lightly what you are sensing. It is the mark of a soul that has been called, awakened, and is now being led into a different way of living, a life in the light and in the breath of grace. My child, to be called is not merely a title, it is a way of living. I have not called you simply to hear and then move on as if nothing has happened. I have called you to walk each day with the awareness that I am with you, surrounding you, guiding you. For in Him we live and move and have our being, Acts 17:28. When you understand this, you will no longer live by habit or drift through your days without direction. You will begin to live with the awareness that each day is part of a sacred journey I am writing with you. So keep your heart attentive. Do not allow what I am planting within you today to be forgotten in the rush of tomorrow. Create anchors in your life, ways to return again and again to the flow of life I am pouring into you. Not because I need you to perform for me, but because you need to remain connected to the source. Like one who tends a lamp, you must ensure that your soul is continually filled with oil, continually renewed. Keep watch, for you do not know the hour. Matthew 24:42. This watchfulness is not anxiety, it is a steady attentiveness to what I am doing within you. My beloved, in a world filled with distractions, you must learn to stay connected to what nourishes your soul. There are currents that carry life, and there are currents that drain it. When you choose to anchor yourself in what gives life, you open the way for grace to continue flowing. And when you remain in that current, you will no longer need to search for encouragement from the outside, because within you there will always be a living source. Remember, you are not merely one who hears, you are one who has been touched. You are not merely a witness, you are invited to step in. And every time you return, every time you open your heart, every time you choose to remain in my presence, you position yourself to receive more. Abide in me, and I in you. John 15:4. This is an ongoing relationship, not a one-time encounter. So, my child, cultivate a spiritual rhythm, not as an obligation, but as breath itself. Return. Listen. Open your heart. Let your soul remain a place ready to be touched whenever grace begins to flow. Not out of fear of missing out, but out of a longing to live fully in what I am giving. I have called you. I am leading you. And if you continue to remain, to listen, and to respond, you will not only hear these words, you will become a living expression of them. For you are chosen to walk in the light and to live each day in the breath of grace that never runs dry. Thank you for listening to this message. Know that you are not merely a viewer, you are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you will not miss any spiritual messages. Amen.